Good morning, everybody. It's Larry Steinhaus, and I am the crazy options trader and the crazy real estate investor. So I had an interesting conversation with somebody the other day that I wanted to share with you. It's kind of neat. They I told you last year I made 255,000. This year I am not quite that far. I made about almost 100,000 this year so far. Actually, that's not too bad for it, considering it's the middle of August, and I made $100,000 just trading stock options. That doesn't include my real estate, which I want to talk to you about also, because, of course, my real estate I'm doing very well at. If you saw my last post on Facebook, you saw just the checks that I got yesterday. And that's a lot of money. And then I know, some people are like skeptical, like, are you making positive cash flow? Of course I'm making positive cash flow. What are you kidding me? You think I'm going to be doing this and spending my money? Yeah, I have one property I think I make a negative $14 on, but the property is such a great property that it was worth the $14 a month that I'm spending on it. And don't forget that also builds my equity in the property because, of course, the mortgage is being paid down, the principal payment is being paid down. So what's going on in the world of the stock market is very interesting. And I'll tell you about the conversation in a minute. But what's going on in the stock market is really interesting. We have Trump threatening North Korea, and North Korea threatening the United States, and blah 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 blah. And it's a bunch of hokum, and who cares? Look, frankly, I mean, really, we got United States of America versus North Korea. Hello, I mean, this is just a guy who thinks he could be a bully and make us all worry. Nobody's worried. But the stock market likes to react to these things, which is kind of neat. In fact, yesterday and possibly today, yesterday was definitely a buying moment. I picked up a little bit of options yesterday, and today might also be a buying moment, only because if it continues to go down the road of the fear, then we will have some good buy moments. Facebook, Apple, Netflix, Tesla, if you want. I actually took Tesla off my board finally because I can't follow it. It just drives me crazy. The premium's too high, and I can't figure out what to do with it. But anyway, we'll talk about that again in a minute. So let me tell you let me go over to the board and I'll tell you the story that I was going to tell you earlier, which is interesting because, again, it's an interesting conversation to have with a lot of people. And talk about also the ways to get rich. And if you like to get rich, I'm sure we all do. I know I do. I enjoy my money. And frankly, I really do. I mean, I went, as you guys know, I went the other day to Vegas and got married, had a blast, and no problem. Here's this, here's that, here's my credit card, and my credit card already from that trip, and it was somewhere near about $10,000 when you consider the first class flights, first class hotel, doing whatever we did. We had to buy clothes, we had to get married. 10 grand paid already. So that's great if you have money and if you know how to use money properly, and I do. At least I believe I do. Anyway, so just real quick, what's going on in the board? Just wanted to show you real quick some entry points. If you see 165.5, get out at 172 for Facebook. Of course, the earnings date's November. The dead zone's coming up, so you got to play this a little bit weird. So I'm looking at today as maybe some buy moments, right? And we're going to go in calls. Now, I'm going to ride them up a little bit, and then I'm going to quickly sell. I'm going to be out in 2 weeks because I want to start maneuvering myself for the dead zone. And for those of you who don't remember what the dead zone is, the dead zone is when it's in between earnings, right around the middle of earnings, and stocks tend to go down at the dead zone. And I track this quarter after quarter after quarter. It's not always the exact date, but it's usually really close, like a week before, a week after. So you got to play it. So I would play puts into the dead zone, but first I'm playing calls into here. If we get 172, then I'm playing puts back into the dead zone. Interesting play. You want to play it. It's great. Anyway, Apple 153, Netflix 162, Chesapeake, my nemesis. You know what my wife says? My wife, I can't believe I have a wife. I'm so excited. You know what my wife says? She says, get the hell out of Chesapeake. All you do is complain about that stock. I'm thinking at 4, how could you go wrong? All right, I said that at 5, right? Anyway, Bank of America. I missed a great put the other day, and I actually, happens to me sometimes. I'm sitting there, and I'm at the eye doctor, and I have my phone out, and I'm about to pull the trigger on buying puts at Bank of America when it was at 25, and today it's at 24.11. I'm about to pull the trigger, and they call me in, and I go, all right, I'll put the phone away, and I forgot to buy it. Duh. And Royal Caribbean. I'm going to tell you now, Royal Caribbean is a great one. It is fluctuating perfectly. It is a perfect stock. No one's paying much attention to it, but it's a perfect fluctuation stock. We see one negative under 115, jump in, jump out at 119. So here's what I was going to talk to you about. Let me just show you real quick. All right, so here we go. We talked about this. I've talked about this on my webinars before. And I've discovered a two-part system that without fail will make you rich. And this is how I started out this conversation. I had a conversation with somebody the other day, and they were like, you make all this money, how come you live in a 3-bedroom, 2.5-bath townhouse without a garage? And the reason he brought that up was because I keep saying I need a house with a garage. Actually, I keep saying I need a garage with a house, because all I really need is a garage. I want to have a 2-car garage to put my convertible in and my motorcycle in, which, by the way, are paid for in full. All right, 2 cars paid for in full. Actually, 3 cars paid for in full, because I've got to have my wife's car too. Right? And then I've got a motorcycle paid for in full, and my house is paid for in full. That's the reason. That was the answer I gave him. I said, hey, look. I said, what's your mortgage payment? He goes, $3,200 a month. I go, you know what mine is? And he goes, I don't know, 18, 19. I go, 0. He goes, 0. What do you mean you don't have a mortgage payment? That's the difference. So that's why I live in this. It's a modest house. It's actually a really nice house. I actually like it. If it had a garage, it would be perfect for me, and maybe a little bit better parking. But that's it. I like the place. It's a beautiful place. It's not the most expensive place I've ever lived in. Actually, it's probably the least expensive place I've ever lived in, relatively. And I've lived in beautiful 5,800 square foot houses. And guess what? I couldn't even find something in the house until I moved, because it was such a big house. And the payments were $5,200 a month. So who cares? Now I live in a modern house. So let me explain this 2-part system that will absolutely, without fail, make you rich. Here you go. You ready? I'm going to tell you, write this down. Think about this. Write this down. And if you're not writing this down, you're not paying attention. That's the reality. Write it down. Step 1. Ready? Spend less money. You want to know what amazes me? I talk to people all the time. I make $40,000 a year, they say. And I look at their car, and I'm like, what do you pay for that car? I pay $625 a month for that car. Are you out of your freaking mind? You make $40,000 a year and you pay for that in a car? Yeah, and I have trouble paying my bills. Really? I would have never guessed. How about buying a car that's within reason? In fact, I have a rule of thumb that says if you buy a car, it should be 1/4 of your salary. So if he's making $40,000, he should spend no more than $10,000 on a car. And he's buying a brand new $30,000 whatever car, I don't even know, and his credit's so fricked up that you can't even that he can't get a good payment on it. It's ridiculous, right? So spend less money. Step 1. Guess what? I bet you already guessed what step 2 is. Make more money. If you're not doing things to make more money and not taking risks, you're making the greatest financial single mistake in your entire life. Okay? So when I buy houses all the time now. And it used to be, I got a little bit of fear buying the houses. But I'm going to tell you that every time I buy a house, I got to think about it. And you know what? In the long run, it always works out. Even some of the people who I talked to who said, I bought a house, I did a flip, and I lost $10,000. You know what? You lost $10,000. That was the greatest education you ever got for $10,000. You learned how to screen contractors. You learned the mistakes you made. You can't go to college for $10,000. But you know what? I realize I'm talking about making more money, but take the risk. If you take the risk, you'll make more money. Look, I'm going somewhere with this, and I got a 3-day intensive real estate seminar. This is all about how to buy real estate, how to find leads, how to buy real estate, how to rehab, how to wholesale, how to make money in real estate. Look, the 2 things I do in life is real estate and stock options. That's how I make money. That's how I make money. So if that's how I make money, guess what? I don't have mortgage payment. I don't have car payments. I've told you this before. I enjoy life. I'm going on another cruise. 5 cruises this year so far. It's only August, and it's not my only trips. So, of course, Vegas and Poconos and all these other places that I keep going, motorcycle rides. You want to live like this? You got to start somewhere. Go to realestateretreats.com, sign up. Sign up for it. It's cheap. It's ridiculously cheap compared to these classes that charge in some ridiculous numbers. It's a 3-day seminar. In fact, it's a 2-day seminar with the 3rd day optional. So how do you like that? And of course, if you want to learn more about stock options, you can go to the webinar. This is a repeat of the webinar I did the other day, crazyoptionstrader.live. Go there, learn stock options. Take the risk. Learn how to make money. Learn how to make money with money. You cannot be a millionaire if you don't make money with money. If you just sit there and try to save your pennies, you're not going to go anywhere. That's the way it is. So look, sign up. Excuse me, realestateretreats.com, retreats with an S. Go to the webinar, the Crazy Options Trader webinar, learn how to do stock options. Learn. I am so excited for today. It's going to be another awesome day in the stock market. Either way, it's going to be fun. It's going to go way up or it's going to go way down. I don't know. But I'm only sitting in a couple of positions waiting to see what happens. And I'll let you guys know what happens. Anyway, have an awesome day.